Hello. Okay. Hello, today we're making a strawberry mouse. I have a group of them right here. We're gonna look at one a little close to see which steps we're going to be taking. First, we're going to crochet these little ears, and they are crocheted on, so you don't have to sew as much. Then we are making the stem tail. This does get sewn on. And we're making the berry shape with the bobble stitch leggies and the seeds sewn in and the eyes and stuff like that. And the whole thing should take less than an hour if you have some kind of experience. So we're going to make this little guy. To make him, you're going to need your 3 colors of yarn. I'm using traditional strawberry colors. You can make them pink or blue, I guess, if you really want to. You need your scissors, your crochet hook, some safety eyes. If I can see where mine went, there they went. A stitch marker and a darning needle and some stuffing. We're gonna switch to a top-down view so you can see what I'm doing. On the screen here it will say the materials again for you and then also which stitches you need to know. From the top of my head you need to be able to make a magic circle, a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet. You need to be able to increase and decrease, preferably an invisible decrease, but it doesn't really matter that much. And then I will show you how to crochet into, like crochet the ears into the mouse. If you know how to do that already, it's easier for you. And we do a little picot stitch for the stem, but I'll show you how to do that also. And then the basics of like embroidering seeds and placing safety eyes and stuff like that. Top down time. Okay, top down vision. This is the mouse. This is how close we are to the camera. Before we start, I am going to mention that there is a cat next to me taking a little nap, and sometimes she decides that she needs to be a feral gremlin when I'm trying to do a tutorial. If that happens, I'm sorry, I can't really stop her from doing that. This corner is where the mouse goes. Mouse will be here watching us make another one. We're gonna start with the ears, for which we will take our yellow yarn, or whichever color you want the seeds and ears to be. I am going to locate my end in this mess. Here it is. Okay, and you grab your crochet hook. Mine's a 6mm. And I am using Ice Baby Chenille. You don't need to use this specific yarn. Your mouse might be a different size. Might be anyway because tension differences. Ears. We're making 2 of them. Starting with a magic circle. And then we single crochet 1. We half double crochet 1. We double crochet 2. We half double crochet again, we single crochet, and then we close our circle. If our yarn lets us is always the question with chenille yarn. It does, wonderful, lovely. And then we snip our little working end, fasten off, and that is an ear. I'm gonna make a second one. Get your yarn, magic circle, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, half double, and single. Close that circle. Wonderful. Snip your working end. Fasten that off. Now we have 2 ears and the yellow yarn can go to the side. Putting these with our finished mouse friend to guard. And then we need green, or whichever color you want to make the tail. I'm using this little mossy green. You can use a lighter one, a darker one. For all I care, you use blue. For the tail, I chain 10 to get this length on the tail. If you want the tail to be longer, you chain more. If you want it to be shorter, you chain less. I use 10 and I think it looks fine. Just gonna go back to the corner. There he is. So we make a slip knot. We chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Starting in the second chain from the hook, we crochet down 8 stitches. Eight. Then we have this one final chain left. In this final chain, we single crochet 6, all in the same chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll get our stitch marker and we put that in that final stitch. And then we continue back in the first one we did here. I pull this towards me to make sure it stays on the right side. Otherwise you're going to have a backwards tail stem thing. And you go to the first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one. Tail towards us. Enter your loopy. And single crochet in that first stitch. Then we increase and we repeat that single crochet increase another 2 times to end up with 9 stitches. There you go. Now you can put the stitch marker back on if you feel like it, but I think it's very visible what we're doing, so we don't need to. We have this little circle now around this tail. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch into our first chain. And then slip stitch into the next stitch. So we are making the little leafy bits. Repeat that 9 times. So chain 3, slip stitch into that first chain, slip stitch into the next stitch. There you go, we've gone all the way around. Slip stitch in and fasten off. Leave a tail for sewing. Now you might be able to tell that the tail isn't perfectly centered, right? It's on one side of the circle. If you want your tail to be perfectly centered, you just single crochet 6 in a magic circle, do the whole frilly bit, and then do the chain 9, 8 single crochet, and sew that into the circle. We want to minimize the sewing, so we're accepting this, right? You can barely tell if it's like this. I personally put the part where it is higher up at the top of the mouse, so you really can't tell. Love that. Now we're making the mouse. Okay. For the mouse, we will be using red today. Like I said, you can choose pink or any color you want, really. I'm not gonna see or care or judge you. Let me get that center pull working right here. And there we go. I'm gonna start off with a magic circle, single crochet 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Close that circle. Red cooperates a bit better than yellow for me. There you go. I say that and it stops working. Love that for me. I should have kept quiet. Doesn't matter, we can hide this on the inside. Right. Stitch marker in the last one. There you go. Now we have 6 stitches, we want to get to 8, so we're going to single crochet 2, increase, single crochet 2, increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, increase, 1, 2, increase. Now we have 8 stitches, and for the next row I'm going to first tie this together so it stays in place perfectly fine. No one will ever know that this magic circle did not want to close. There you go. Perfect. Right, continuing. Round 3 is alternating single crochet, increase. And we will end up with 12 stitches. So single, increase, single crochet, increase, there you go, 12 stitches. Next row we will single crochet 5, increase, repeat, and end up with 14 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, and repeat. 14 stitches. In this row we will be adding in the ears, so you can get those ready. First we single crochet one normally, and then we get our first ear ready. To crochet the ear in, it's basically like you just lay it on top and crochet through it, right? Like just like you would normally. That's kind of hard to see and do, so we're doing it in 2 sections. You put it on your hook through the single crochet at the start, and then you put it through like you would normally, yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through both loops, and that is 1 single crochet through both parts. Then we move this to the back, ends inside the mouse. We again go through the single crochet and then through where we would normally put our single crochet. There you go. Find the red end, yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through both. Now this looks like a regular single crochet and your ear is set in place. Ends are on the inside. That's how easy it really is. Then we increase, we single crochet 2, and then we attach the second ear. You grab it, put through that single crochet at the start, put through the next stitch, yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through both. Move the ends to the back, pull through that, push through that, single crochet there, get your yarn ready, and then just single crochet like normal. Here we go. I always pull the little ends here once extra to make sure they are really on the correct side. Let's see, we just did our ear, now we do another 2 single crochets. We do an increase, and then we single crochet 3. There you go, end of the row. In the written pattern, I've said you put the eyes on later, but you can already start putting your eyes in if you want to, and I find that more convenient because I find I forget otherwise. If you're working with really small yarn, you might want to do it later because the safety eye backing might make it harder to like crochet, but because this is such a big yarn, it doesn't affect it. So the eyes go in just up in front of the ears. You can count rows, you can count stitches apart. I don't, they just go in front of the ears. And you look from the front, does it look even-ish? Yeah, that's about right. Flip him outside and put the backings on. There you go. I usually find that if I go and count my rows or count my stitches, I end up with uneven eyes because you're crocheting in the round. So it's like a spiral and not actual circles. But if you don't want to guesstimate, you can count. I think I put the pattern I wrote between rounds 4 and 5. So this is 5, this is 4. About accurate. I didn't say how many stitches apart because that really just depends on how your ears fall. Right, now we continue with the legs. So the legs go right after the ears in round 6 because he's a tiny guy. He doesn't have a lot of body space. So we're going to single crochet 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We increase, single crochet 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we do a bobble stitch. I do my bobble stitch with 5 unfinished single crochets, so like these thingies that yarn over thing. Yeah, 5 of these. Oh wow, words are difficult. You can do 4 if this is getting like too tight and whatever. So you yarn over, put your hook through, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops only, and then repeat that 5 times. I have 3 right now, so when you have 6 loops on your hook, you're done. There, 4 loops on the hook. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops. Yarn over, pull through all of them, tighten that. And then in the next stitch we do an increase. Then a single crochet, and then another bobble stitch. So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, and the final stitch is a single crochet. There we go. That's his little front leggies ready. Kind of push them if you think they need pushing out. And now the row between the leggies is going to be 4 single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 8 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then another increase. Always like watch your stitches around the bobble stitch, you don't want to go like in between it. Increase here, and then another 4 single crochets to the end of your round. 2, 3, and 4. There you go. I hope you cannot hear the noise that's going on outside the house. There's people outside arguing, I think. I'm not sure. I can't really understand what they're saying. They're just being loud. Right, now it's already the row of the second legs. We're going to start with an increase here. Single crochet 3. Repeat that 2 times, so increase. 1, 2, 3, increase, 1, 2, 3. Then there's another increase here, and then there's a bobble stitch again. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My wrist doesn't like the angle at which I have to sit to be able to record this. Then we single crochet 2. Then we increase right between his leggies. single crochet 2 again. And then the bobble stitch is on the final stitch of the round. So we take out our stitch marker and pull up the 5 fingies. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, pull through all the loops. Put the stitch marker in the bobble stitch, or just use a bobble stitch as the recognition point. Then round 9 is just single crochets, 25 of them, 25 single crochets around. So start in the one after the bobble and go all the way around. Careful with those bobble stitches again. There you go, end of round. And now we're already going to start decreasing. So the first round of decreases goes single crochet 3 and then decrease. I'm using invisible decreases, but because this is going to cover his little booty, if you do regular decreases and it looks a little scuffed, you're not going to see. It's going to be covered. I'm pushing these ends in and hoping they stay. Right, so 1, 2, 3, decrease, and repeat. Again, depending on the size of your yarn, you're going to think about stuffing your mouse on time. If you haven't added in the eyes yet, this would be a good time to do that. I am using pretty big yarn, so the hole at the end is big enough for me to stuff. I don't have to stuff and then still crochet anything. If you're working on a 4 or 3 millimeter hook, you might want to stuff on the round after this. Neo's still sleeping and I'm very happy with that. This is the second take for this. The first take got corrupted, and in that first take Neo was being an absolute menace. She was eating this mouse, the one that's in the corner. She was trying to push my yarn off the table and she stole my darning needle. So maybe good that that one got corrupted. It's a little bit more calm for you. So decrease at the end right there. And this row is going to be 2 single crochet, decrease, repeat. There you go. Whoop. 2. 2. And now we're already on the final round, and that's going to be single crochet, decrease, repeat. At the end of that we will have 10 stitches. Final stitch. You leave a little end for sewing it shut and you finish that off. Now I'm grabbing my stuffing real quick. Okay, stuffing located. This is going to look a little bit wrong. I always feel so bad when I have to stuff a plushie through their butt. But that's usually how the designs end up going, because if you have to sew closed on the face, it looks less pretty. Anyway, you want to stuff them firmly, but not so firmly that the shape goes whack. So, about this for me. And then I press in the sides so the stuffing doesn't get caught on my tail when I close him up. Get your darning needle and the yarn tail ready. You go through each stitch on the front loop only. Doesn't really matter if you go from the inside or the outside, but try to do the same one consistently. This is the point where all of the yarn floofies keep cluttering the table. Problems of working with chenille yarn, I'd say. Go. A few more. There we go, and then we pull that tight. I push the stuffing in while I do that so it doesn't poke out. And now his butt is closed. And I usually like do this to tie it off. Like I said, this doesn't have to look super neat because we are covering it up with the stem tail. There you go. And bonk. Stab that through and pull it through. Cut off your end. Shimmy away the floofies. Now I like to sew on the little seeds right before I sew on the stem. It makes it a little bit easier to maneuver the mouse around. Pull some of your yellow yarn, like a decent amount. There's two ways to sew on the seeds. There is just regular straight lines. And because of the way crocheting in the round with a little spiral works, it's also possible to do it as little hearts. Like the very basic hearts, right? I'm gonna be doing those right now because that's fun. You kind of like have a starting point and you go sideways. And then you go back through your starting point. You go sideways the other direction. And then you push out the hook, or not the hook, and the needle somewhere else on the little body. Pull that tight, but not super tight. And you have a little heart shape. It's more like a little V shape, but you know, if you say it's a heart, it's a heart. And you kind of do that all over. Try to remember which direction you're putting them in so it's consistent throughout. Or you do them all in a different direction, that works too. Just like make that choice consciously. Don't have one going in a different direction, it'll look whack. Here under the chin can be one. Here at the end of the butt. You just put them wherever you think it needs more until you think there's enough of them. You don't need to put them on the butt because that will be covered. There we go. Let's see that. I think that's enough. So instead of pushing randomly somewhere, we go back to the starting stitch. There. We push this like a little bit so it doesn't get too compressed. Yeah, okay. You tie these two together. And then you pull the ends through the body. Snip those ends off. Shimmy out the fluffies. Right. Some of them are a little bit compressed right now. Kinda evens out when you squeeze them a little bit. We're gonna put on the tail. I start with this center thingy right here, kind of to help as a guideline. If it wants to be threaded through the needle. There. Now, I said earlier, I like when the tail, where it's at the top of the circle, is at the top of his butt. So I'm going to use this center piece here to kind of help as a guideline. Pull that through. It's just going to stay like that. Keeps it in place for when we're sewing it around so we don't start twisting and turning it. Now you get the long end, and I do this very crudely. I just push it in and like turn it inside. You can do it very neatly and look very closely while you're stitching, but the frills kind of cover that anyway. So as long as you're not going halfway across the mouse in one stitch, it looks great. There we go. One more. There you go. Make sure none of the leaves are caught in the sewing. And then you go through the green and through the red. Back up through the red, but not back up through the green. Just kind of stick that out where the other end is from the inside. And you tie those two together like that, and you hide those through the body as well. Like this. Cut off those ends. Shimmy away those floofies. Squish your boy into shape a little bit. And that is a strawberry mouse. One of my testers had the wonderful idea that if you, before stuffing them, put a little magnet in their nose, you can put them together and make them kiss. That is wholesome and cute, something you can do. I like just putting them in a little circle like this. They're having a meeting. If you want to be an edgelord, you can sew a bunch of their tails together and create a rat king, strawberry rat king. or just like a little branch of strawberries if you're wholesome. I hope you had fun with your strawberry mouse. If you make one and you post it on your socials, tag me. I would love to see. You're allowed to sell your finished mouse. Please do credit me as the pattern designer, and that is all. Do not redistribute the pattern, but that's basic knowledge. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have fun with your mice.